pjnet.tv 9:30 on the eastern coast of the United States. It is time for Del Didway, as it is every Tuesday at this time. We are running his special custom bumper. We have his special custom background. We have the chat room waiting. We are recording and streaming. Countdown, Studio 8, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, good evening and welcome back. This is pjnet.tv. It is live. I am your host, Coach Prasic. It is my honor to be a part of this because every Tuesday, as you can tell from what's going on behind me, Del Didway is our regularly scheduled guest, and he blogs at deldidway.com, and he hails from the great state of Ohio, way up north. And Del, in your blog this week, when I saw the title, I thought, hey, this is a deja vu. This is a rerun from last week. But actually digging deeper, it really got me stirred up because you call it passion. I call it a comeback.
Yeah. I was just trying to stick with that theme was all. I mean, sometimes you come with the titles. You got to find something catchy. Somebody may grab their interest. So short and sweet.
The University of Kentucky is on your mind lately. You have entered into a partnership with, well, you tell the story. You ran into him in just the day-to-day work you were doing, and next thing you know, you're writing a book together.
Yeah. I met John about 4 years ago down in Cincinnati. We were covering Bengals games together. We just established a friendship, and we had great things in common. And then, lo and behold, a few years later, when things are slow, we enter into an agreement to partner and write a book together, and we're doing that right now. And so that's kind of hot and heavy on my mind. We have a deadline to meet, and so we was going through one of the chapters the other day, and it just kind of stuck out at me. I mean, they're all good so far, but this one just kind of jumped out at me. I was trying to come up with a topic for a blog, and my mind kept going back to this chapter. And I thought, well, let's just blog about it. Kind of, it won't be out for a year, but let's give a little teaser about it.
Del, I find it hard to believe that the book is coming out late in 2021, and You're talking about deadlines already?
Oh, yeah, we have to have it done in December. Yeah, December 1st.
A year in advance?
That's our deadline. That's been standard, typical. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, yeah, you have to have it done, submitted, edited, turned in to them. Right now, December 1 is our deadline. And we will hit that deadline. We're way ahead of schedule right now, but then they'll start the editing process and book cover, and then by the time it all gets done, it'll probably come out in October-ish, November-ish of next year.
Now, this is being done by the University of Kentucky Press or something like that.
No, Indiana University Press.
What did I just say? Did I say Kentucky?
Yeah, it's okay. We talked to Kentucky about it, so we ended up with Indiana.
Wait a minute. If I got the right book,
yes, Kentucky Passion, yes, it's by Indiana University Press.
How did that happen?
They made us a better deal.
Well, that's all you need to say.
There's no loyalty. Just go with.
Well, it's for sale. It's they just know what it's worth. And if anybody would know basketball, I mean.
Well, Indiana does too, of course, and we've got a good relationship with them so far. So we've got one book out, one book coming out, and then another book coming out. So, it was just an easier process to go through because we know everybody there by now.
The redeeming passion, as you call it, centers around the story of a young man who got a scholarship and almost blew it.
Yeah, Scott Padgett, I remember watching him play. In the first couple of years, he was hailed as this potential savior. And, he almost flunked out. First year was riding the bench because he had a lousy attitude. And the second year, he almost flunked out. And so he had to actually sit out the year that Kentucky won the national championship because he was on academic probation. And so he had to, just sit out the whole year. And then I think that got to him, and he thought, something's got to change here. I have to get my attitude adjusted. And he did, and obviously he has a tremendous comeback story. And was academic All-American, became a teacher and a coach. So he did, he had a good career in the NBA, but then he went and coached. So I think he come full circle, and sometimes it takes something like that to wake you up. And people have the potential. Just somebody has to make you realize it at times. Sometimes it comes to hitting rock bottom. I hope that never happens, but sometimes you have to realize your potential, and it takes a slap in the face sometimes. So I think he got that in a good way, and it's a great redemption story. How, because he had all this talent and ability, he was ready to throw it away. And sometimes when I start to blog, I just kind of ramble, and I went through some redemption movies, some of my favorite ones, and then just kind of go down that road.
Now,
I never have an outline. I just start typing. I mean, and I teach. Some people have outlines, and God bless them. I think it's great. And I want to apologize. I tried to get on to listen to Becky, but I was having technical issues. I couldn't get on for some reason. I was having Twitter problems, and so, but yeah. So I just kind of, I don't have an outline. I just sit down and start writing it, because if I have an outline, I never stick to it. So it's almost a waste of time for me to have an outline. But I wish I could. But I always had the intention of having one. I just never stuck to it. So I just don't even bother with it anymore. I just start writing it, and it comes out. So,
well, I have, and everybody's got their opinion, and I'm not saying that, or I'm not applauding disorganization,
right,
or without thought. But folks, there is no script on pjnet.tv. And I guess one of the reasons, I watch a lot of game film. I watch our own, but I also watch others.
Yeah.
And it is very evident to me when they have a script. Okay.
Well, I can tell, and in some of these political shows, they have to have, and they know what they're going to be asked. So the last thing you want to be doing is caught off guard and look like an idiot. So they tell them what they're going to ask them, and there's nothing wrong with that. Because there's no way some of these people can think that fast on their feet and come up with these very elegant words and how they're going to say things. So, but yeah, it's the same. That's how I write sometimes. I have an idea. I just sit down and I started on redemption, and then my mind took off to, some great redemption movies, and I get back to basketball. So I just kind of take a long way around it, but that's just how I do things, and it works for me. Doesn't work for everybody. Outlines work great for some people. They don't work for me. I've tried them, so I just stick with what I do best, and that's just to shotgun it. Just pull the trigger, and let it go.
I'm going to have to do one of those Control F, because there was a line in here. That's golden. Just this.
Where?
Oh, this one rocked me. I mean, it's one of those that you have to stop and just process it a minute.
Oh, in the blog, you mean?
In the blog.
Oh, I know it. What is it?
Oh, here we go. I'm
Did I write it, or did John write it?
And let's find out. There are only two things you can control: your attitude and your effort.
Yeah, there's mine. Yeah, and I heard that several years ago. We were at my son's
Sounds
basketball
like a
camp.
coach thing. Yeah,
It was. We were at a basketball camp, and the coach said that's the two things you can control, and that was a long time ago. And it's always stuck with me, because you can't control other things sometimes, but you can control how you act, and you can't control how hard you work, and that's about all you can control, really.
Well, and the word control presupposes that we can really control anything. In any athletic competition, I'll talk about football because that's my life. You're not trying to control the other team. You're trying to influence the outcome. I get tickled when, you'll see on social media or the news, that some, foreign country is trying to influence our election. And I thought every time I called a play, I was trying to influence the outcome of the game. And, every step you take, every decision you make, every word that you say, every thought that you think, needs to be directed at influencing an outcome, shouldn't it? Or are you just drifting around through life, hoping it?
Well, my casting a vote is trying to influence the election.
Sure.
Right?
Exactly.
I'm trying to influence it by casting how I want it to go.
Right.
So these morons in the media who say that Russia's trying to influence the election, they're just stupid.
Well, it makes me feel like they think I'm stupid.
Yeah, anybody who watches the elite media needs to just really take a look at themselves. And not slamming people, but if they, I gotta watch Good Morning America, I have to watch this. You're just adding to the problem by watching these idiots, and they are egotistical idiots who think they can control you and think they can influence you by telling us their propaganda.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just a great example, Mark, when they say, well, Russia's influencing the election because makes Trump look bad. Anybody who watches these shows, you really need to say, I'm contributing to the problem. I'm giving these people validation by watching the Acostas and watching these egotistical, blathering idiots.
Moron.
And giving them validation by actually watching them. So flip off your Good Morning America. You don't need it. You actually do pretty good. And flip off some of these other shows and pick up Dugout Devotions. Pick up First Time Devotion. You'll have a lot better day than listening to some of these blathering morons. You really will.
Well, it is true. I remember making a decision. Dale, you don't have to remind me of that. You know, that's I literally in college. First thing you do, you get set up in an apartment. You know, you want to exercise your freedom. So, boy, I mean, first thing you do is subscribe to the newspaper. And I got into that thing of every morning wake up, get the news, and it dawned on me that this is ingesting poison first thing in the morning. And I made a decision when I was in college. I canceled that subscription to the newspaper and decided that I would not poison my day by reading the news. Now, that's not to say that the newspaper is worthless, but the front page certainly is.
Yeah, and again, this past Sunday, I did not watch 1 second of football, and you know what? I'm okay. I'm
the
good.
Earth is still circling the sun, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and I found out, these last several months, I found out that I really don't need that stuff. I definitely don't need the NBA and never will. I don't care what'll happen. I will never, ever watch the NBA. And I'm just fine without, Major League Baseball right now. I'm just fine without the NBA. I'm going to make now. Ohio State football is different, but which I think they're going to play now, but it's different. And so, and I'm very encouraged when I go to these Friday night high school football games. They stand and they watch and they put their hand over their heart and they stand. And that's awesome.
What ultimately happened? Mr. Paget graduated and he went on to quite a career.
Yeah, he was kind of a journeyman, but he had a good career in the NBA, and then he went on and taught and coached and had a good career. So it was all a great story of realizing your potential and the person who almost flunked out, literally almost flunked out of college, became an academic All-American. So he had really good grades his last 2 or 3 years. So
that's a real turnaround.
The effort. It was a big turnaround because obviously his grade point was low, and to be an All-American, he had to have like 2 solid years of like top of the line because those first 2 years had to hold him down a little bit. Mm-hmm. So getting the average up. So it was a good story, a good comeback story, good story of redemption, and a good story of finding your own. And I try to give hope. Maybe you maybe lost your job. Maybe you're trying to get one. Maybe you're to encourage you to go after those things. Go back and get your degree. Go back go back to college. Go after that person you've always wanted to ask out, or just do it.
Yeah. Well, there's 2 things that you can control: your attitude and your effort.
Yeah. If you sit back and don't do anything, then all you can do is complain about it.
Well, a great coach, Bobby Bowden, had to deal with athletes that would fall short of the mark.
The Florida State? No.
But Bobby was always reluctant to kick them off the team. Now, he did ultimately, when he had to. But he said, I hate to extinguish hope because you're almost sentencing them to a future without hope, and you're sending them down the wrong path. So he was a coach of second chances, and some of us need a second chance sometime, even though none of us are worthy of it. But I wonder, in the story of Paget, who was there beside him, encouraging him? I just, there had to be somebody.
Oh yeah, it had to be his teammates. Obviously, those guys stick together. The coaches stick together. So it ultimately the coach could have kicked him off, obviously, but obviously kept him on because you saw potential too. Plus, he was 6'9". And he could play basketball, so he really wanted him to turn around, and he did. So it had a really good 2 years. So it's a feel good story
Well,
because
the
he
other thing,
kind of had a lousy attitude, going in.
at that point, at the 2-year mark, that coach and that school had invested substantially in that young man. And when you've got that much invested, you really need to see it through. You hate to just throw that away.
Yeah,
So,
had he been a walk-on, probably would have been cut. But yeah, they do make investments. So,
well,
and they got a good return the last couple of years on that investment.
So I reflect in relationships, in my own life. We need to be investing ourselves in others because, for one thing, it makes it harder to give up on them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it really does. So I think that's the key. You do this, you invest in others. We all try to. We try to do our best. We fall short. I'm trying my best. There's a couple of clients I just can't. I'm really trying hard to get the book sold, and I'm having some issues. But I'm trying to invest in them, and I'm investing a lot of time in them right now. And been able to get some other ones some contracts, but I want these other ones to get them too. So they see this. I hope they know that I'm working for them. But it'll come. It'll be that time. It's I can control who I send it to. I can control the effort, and I can control the attitude on it. So, but that's the key. I mean, if you're doom and gloom all the time, who wants to talk to you?
Well, I've watched 2 scenarios in football where the second string quarterback is on the sideline helping, coaching, helping his teammates, going over the plays, working with the offensive line. But then the first string quarterback gets hurt and he goes onto the field. Watch what the first string quarterback does. I've never seen one just sit on the bench and sulk. Mm-hmm. See, they're leaders. And then they get on the sideline and they begin encouraging their teammates, and they're the ones holding that clipboard. They may have a broke wing.
Well, yeah, that was one of the stories. That was one of my favorite stories in First Down Dugout Devotions. Was the first chapter was about Brian Dozier and how he went through that same situation when he got hurt his senior year of college, and he said that he had to teach, he had to encourage, he had to sit in the dugout and instruct. And he said that's the year he became a leader was when he was hurt, because he had to lead, he had to encourage and teach and instruct. And he thought it'd be tough, but he found that actually that was a blessing for him. So, and quarterbacks, tell you what, every quarterback has an ego because they have to, because that's a position that requires an ego. Mm-hmm. And because you're a leader and you have to be out there, take the blame, take the brunt. So for a quarterback to do that, it is because deep down they want to be out there, and if they're not out there, but they have to do something. So because they want to be encouraged too when that role is reversed. Mm-hmm. I think the greatest job in the world would be to be a backup quarterback, because you sit on a clipboard, you stand up, hold a clipboard the whole game, and make millions of dollars. But I'm going to do a year. I'm going to do a year without the NFL, and I think I'll be okay. I think I'm going to be okay. I think I'm going to, survive it.
Well, Dale, thank goodness that there are writers like yourself calling attention to those athletes that are good role models, because at the moment there seems like many are wasting.
Well, the ones we did look up to are bowing down, and you shake your head, say, what happened? You had some morals, you had some values, and it's just discouraging because the mob got to them. That's all you can say. The mob got to them. And
well, so, I want to see how this. I agree right now, but I don't see this as a sustainable situation.
No, they can't. They
right.
Can't.
This who knows?
They'll learn their lesson through money.
Well, see, money is actually pulling the strings now. One name in particular comes to mind, one that stood out early on, has now capitulated. But I was having a conversation and said, well, what do you do when you're making millions of dollars? And no doubt he was told, muster up or you're out. So, I think he did the wrong thing. And for me, it's harder for you and I. We're not making millions of dollars. We need that job. When you're making millions of dollars, don't tell me you need the job. You've already made more money than most people will ever make in a lifetime. Why don't you walk away from it? Stand up.
Well, it's hard, I guess. I mean, it's not hard for a real American to stand up. It's not hard at all. If you do eventually do what you're, pressured to do, then you're not genuine. You never were genuine because you won't stand up to what I believe the folks who did it in the past just did it because it looked good. It was a good image for them.
Well, it didn't cost them. It didn't cost them.
It was a good image for them. And then when push came to shove and the pressure came to them, you saw who they really are. Mm-hmm. So the folks in the past who've been this good moral leader, and then they bow to the mob, tells me they weren't genuine. Because there's no excuse. There is no excuse for disrespecting our nation. I don't care. If you can respect the other one, I don't care. You can stand for that song and anthem, whatever you call it, too. But how dare you kneel? Stand for that one and kneel for the other one. Yeah. So it's just a matter of character.
Quick comment. An incident occurred this week, maybe yesterday or something, where two players came out of the chute. This was like high school or something.
Yeah, it just happened today. I mean, there was it was up here in Ohio.
Okay. Waving flags and such, and they were told not to do it. Now, the school suspended them, not the coach.
They reversed it. They reversed it today.
Oh, thank God.
They reversed it because they had so much backlash. The players came out with a flag for the nation and one for honoring the police officers and law enforcement, and they were suspended. But then
by the school,
there was such a outcry that they reversed it.
Well, and this may sound unpopular. It may make people not like me, but see, there's a problem here. When you're on a team, you do what the coach says. Now, if the coach says the wrong thing, you fire the coach. So, to me, if the coach says we're going to stand for the anthem, then stand for the anthem. If the coach says we're going to kneel for the anthem, then you have a decision to make. Either leave the team or do it. I really hold the coaches accountable for the behavior of the team, not the school, and the individual has obviously got responsibility. But I place all of this squarely in the laps of the coaches because they need to step up and provide the leadership. If a coach says we're not doing this, I don't respect that decision, but I respect that it is his call. And then I know where he's at, and I know what not to do and what to do.
Well, I don't know those details. All I know is that the suspension was reversed today.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Because there is a situation here. What if one comes carrying out a nicest flag?
So I just don't know why it's detrimental to honor your nation and to honor law enforcement. 4 or 5 years ago, the Dallas Cowboys wanted to wear names of law enforcement on their cleats, and the NFL said no. But they've really reversed that. Now you can put names of a person accused of rape on your helmet, and it's okay.
Yeah.
So that's why I won't watch the NFL.
I stopped watching long ago.
They bowed to the mob.
It's funny because I'm seeing so much outrage, and by golly, I am glad to see the outrage because boy, that's been a question of mine. Where's the outrage? But folks, there is outrage over this Netflix movie, and I'm glad. Yeah. I'm really glad. And people are saying, cancel your net. It's like I did that 1.5 years ago.
But, it's people, and I get it. They get upset, but I see some people who, and it's up to them. They've been griping about the NFL, but they posted the other day, hey, they watched their game, and I thought, you've been blathering for weeks that you're not going to watch it, and here you are watching it. So if you're not going to do it, don't do it. But don't be a two-facer about it.
I looked at the NFL logo today. First of all, the first letter of the NFL stands for what? National. That logo is red, white, and blue. I really think that they need to be honest with the public and redo their logo. Just call it the FL and skip the red, white, and blue.
I don't know what to do, but I'll make a prediction here. Pretty soon, they'll go after the NBA logo. Pretty soon of Jerry West, they'll want that removed, and we all know why.
No, I don't. I don't keep up. Help me out.
Well, Jerry West, he's called the logo because he's the logo of the NBA,
Right.
and so I'm not going to get into the.
Tell me later.
Well, he was a very accomplished, one of the greatest players ever, from West Virginia. So, but they'll go after that logo. They'll say, "Hey, we should have somebody else on that logo."
I see.
So, yeah.
All right. Dell, any parting words? We're going to do this again next week. Any
Thanks for
previews?
everybody to be out there. I was trying to get on earlier, and I couldn't. So sorry about that.
That's cool. Well, Dell, we appreciate what you do. We appreciate you. We appreciate your heart, and we appreciate you taking the time. And I know so much is so wrong, but Dell, keep writing inspirational stories about athletes who overcame the odds. And as I read your blog today, I was moved by it and inspired by it. It has always drawn me to your writings, and I hope that that will remain a constant in whatever you write. And we wish you the best. And, well, heck, we'll see you next week.
We'll see you next Tuesday. Thanks.
All right. Midway, right here on pjnet.tv. Folks, it has been quite the experience being with you all here tonight. I want to say a special thanks to those. I'm doing some things a little different. I'm trying some new stuff. I have with me a tablet where I used to have a laptop, so I can just kind of go down the roster. I see that Becky's here, Ben's here, Dell's here, Steve's here, JD's here, Rachel, Sunbelt Girl, Tammy, and I know there's been some others that have kind of come and gone in the meantime. Folks, tomorrow night we've got Eva Marie Everson, I believe, and Michelle Medlock Adams. So it's been Girls Night Out tomorrow, or Girls Night In, and I get to do that. So we're looking forward to that. We've got Barbara Sunbelt Girl has been working hard keeping that schedule packed with people, and she does a great job, and she really is a pleasure to work with. I was napping this afternoon, and I didn't know, but she sent me a message. Are you awake? Are you up? Are you available? Well, what woke me up was her ringing the phone like 3 minutes later. So it's like, what's the point of asking if I'm up? So, folks, it is raining here in Florida. Let's keep in prayer the people in the path of Hurricane Sally. I don't, with all these bad things going on, and we don't hear as much as we should, and we don't think as much as we should about our neighbors, in my case, to our west, who have endured. They're expected to get like 30 inches of rain. That's 3 or 4 months worth in one day. Folks, it's always a pleasure sharing this time with you. This is a place, pjnet.tv is dedicated to providing a place where everyday Christians can share their walk with Christ. And we are so blessed, so fortunate to have Dell and Becky, and gosh, the list goes on and on. What a great fellowship we have here. Folks, I want to wrap it up for the night. As I tip my hat, as I slowly back out of here, I would ask that you ask yourself 2 questions. First, what is the boldest thing you've ever done for Jesus Christ? And then secondly, when was that? It is my hope that none of us would be satisfied with either answer.